Hare Krishna, dear devotees. I would like to welcome you all for His Holiness Candramauli Maharaj's daily online class. Thank you all for joining. My humble obeisances to you. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. We will be continuing with Canto 2, Chapter 1. And we'll just kindly wait for Maharaj to come before we start. Thank you very much for your patience. Hare Krishna.
We're here.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. My humble obeisances to you. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Yeah, I just jumped into the house about 5 minutes ago.
So Maharaj, we will be continuing with chapter 2, Canto 2, chapter 1. I will just share the screen.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Tatrai Kavaya Hamdayed Vyayuchinena Chetasam Mano Nirvisayam Yukva Tatra Kinchana Nasmarat Param Tab Paramam Vishnor Mano Yantra Prasidati. Translation. Thereafter you should meditate upon the limbs of Vishnu one after another, without being deviated from the conception of the complete body. Thus the mind becomes free from all sense objects. There should be no other thing to be thought upon. Because the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu is the ultimate truth, the mind becomes completely reconciled in him only. Purport. Foolish people, bewildered by the external energy of Vishnu, do not know that the ultimate goal of the progressive search after happiness is to get in touch directly with Lord Vishnu, the personality of Godhead. Vishnu Tattva is an unlimited expansion of different transcendental forms of the personality of Godhead. And the supreme or original form of Vishnu Tattva is Govinda, or Lord Krishna, the supreme cause of all causes. Therefore, thinking of Vishnu and meditating upon the transcendental form of Vishnu, specifically upon Lord Krishna, is the last word on the subject of meditation. This meditation may be begun from the lotus feet of the Lord. One should not, however, forget to be misled from the complete form of the Lord. Thus, one should practice thinking of the different parts of his transcendental body, one after another. Here in this verse, it is definitely assured that the Supreme Lord is not impersonal. He is a person, but his body is different from those of conditioned persons like us. Otherwise, meditation beginning from the pranava, Omkara, up to the limbs of the personal body of Vishnu would have not been recommended by Sukadev Goswami for the attainment of complete spiritual perfection. The Vishnu forms of worship in great temples of India are not, therefore, arrangements of idol worship, and they are wrongly interpreted to be by a class of men with a poor fund of knowledge. Rather, they are different spiritual centers of meditation on the transcendental limb of the body of Vishnu. The worshipful deity in the temple of Vishnu is identical with Lord Vishnu. by the inconceivable potency of the Lord. Therefore, the neophyte's concentration and meditation upon the limbs of Vishnu in the temple, as contemplated in the revealed scriptures, is an easy opportunity for meditation for persons who are unable to sit down in one place and then concentrate on pranava, Omkara, or the limbs of the body of Vishnu, as recommended by Sukadeva Goswami, the great authority. The common man can benefit more by meditating on the form of Vishnu in the temple than on the Omkara, the spiritual combination of A, U, M, as explained before. There is no difference between Omkara and the forms of Vishnu. But persons unacquainted with the science of the absolute truth try to create dissension by differentiating between the forms of Vishnu and that of Omkara. Here is indicated the Vishnu form is the ultimate goal of meditation. As such, it is better to concentrate on the forms of Vishnu than on the impersonal Omkara. The later process is also more difficult than the former. Magyantimirandasya Gnajana Salakaya Chaksun Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Sri Mupakadam Mayam Dadati Swam Padantikam Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Sri Makti Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharini Nirvisesa Sunyavari Pastyatya Devasatarne Vanchakalpa Tarubhischa Kripasindu Bevacha Titanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bring up the purport as the focus on the screen. Yeah. Keep going. Up. More. Okay, right there. Oh, come down. You went too far. Just to the beginning of the purport. Right there, yeah. Okay, good. So there is different aspects of the personality of Godhead. The absolute truth is one and manifests in different forms, even for the form of worship. The forms of worship in the temples are therefore mostly for neophytes who cannot sit down and meditate on the sound vibration on the Lord, either Hare Krishna or Omkar. So they can visualize the beautiful form of the Lord. And by that visualization, there is some purification of consciousness, because the Lord's transcendental form is not different than the Lord. The Lord in the temple and the Lord in the spiritual world are one and different. One in the sense that worship that one applies to the worship of the deity in the temple is as good as worshiping the personal form of the Lord in the spiritual world. So that is the oneness in the sake of worship. But there is a difference in the manifestation, is that one is an expansion of the other. But in one sense, different and non-different. So there is a class of people who think that God is everywhere, and therefore you don't have to go to the temple because God is everywhere. But if God is everywhere and he's personally appearing in his form in the temple, then he's also in the temple. And even more so for those who have a poor fund of knowledge and cannot visualize or realize the Lord in his all-pervading manifestation of the spiritual energy of the Lord. personal form is there. And for the sake of those, to facilitate worship, the Lord accepts the role as subordination to his worshiper. Therefore, one can perform direct service to the Lord in a variety of ways. And that allows for the devotee to become more and more attracted and attached to the Lord. And that form of the Lord manifests within the heart and mind of the devotee through the process of worship. And that is good as seeing the Lord face to face. And so this is the mercy manifestation of the Lord. The Lord has merciful manifested himself in his transcendental form and in his transcendental name. Here, Krishna Prabhupada mentions the oneness and difference between Vishnu and Krishna. The oneness and difference is there. Vishnu is a manifestation of Krishna, but in the same time, he's also non-different than Krishna. And sometimes people mistakenly think, and they also write about it, that Krishna is the 14th incarnation of Lord Vishnu. Because they can't relate to Krishna as the Supreme Lord, because his pastimes and activities in the spiritual world are beyond people's ability to even accept what to speak of to worship. They think that Krishna was some personality, historic personality, who came and performed all these activities years ago, and now he's gone. But actually, that same Vishnu who we worship is simply an expansion of Krishna. Ete chamsam kalom pumsam, Krishna's tu Bhagavan Swayam. The Shastras confirm that the source of all manifestations of the Godhead is Lord Sri Krishna. And therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna in the role of his own devotee, taught the highest form of worship through his own personal example by worshiping the Lord Krishna in the role of his pure devotee, Srimati Radharani, or his pure internal energy. So we can accept the Shastras as they give. And for other people, the Vishnu forms seem to be prominent, or what we say superior. That's fine. Let them worship Vishnu as the superior form of the Lord, because they're worshiping the same Lord just in a different form. That's all. And Vishnu is mostly connected with Vaikuntha, and Krishna is exclusively connected with Vrindavan. When we see the deity in the temple in our day-to-day life here, we say that is Radha and that is Krishna, that is Jagannath, that's Balaram. But we don't worship Krishna in the mood of Vrindavan, which is the only way he can be worshipped. So why is that? Because the consciousness has to be purified to the level of raganuga, or spontaneous attraction. Krishna only is worshipped in spontaneous attraction. But for the sake of facilitating devotion to Krishna, we install Radha Krishna deities in different places. But the worship is in Aishwarya Bhav. It's in the worship of the Lord as the supreme autocrat, or the supreme opulent personality of Godhead. The intimacy is simply through service, and not as Krishna is worshipped in Vrindavan with his friends, with his parents, with his lovers. So although we're standing there in front of the deity in our temples and we see Radha and Krishna there, our mood of worship is Lakshmi Narayan. Because we can't, unless we can, but when one purifies their consciousness and comes to the platform of spontaneous attraction to Krishna, the deity will reveal himself to the worshiper in the mood of Krishna in Vrindavan. But we worship like that. But we say, here is Krishna, here is Radharani, here is Jagannath, like that. So there are different, and of course, this purport emphasizes that people cannot sit and meditate in this age. And we even find it hard for devotees to chant the 16 rounds of japa. The mind is so unruly and so chanchala, so restless, that devotees find it very difficult to chant 16 rounds. Although, if you practice and you detach yourself from the objects of sense gratification, then it becomes more and more easy to meditate on Krishna in his transcendental sound vibration, and the mind becomes more fixed upon that sound vibration when the devotee is chanting. But that takes some development, and it takes service to the spiritual master. Otherwise, it won't manifest. And here, even in a lesser form of the sound vibration, is Omkara, Pranava, which is the original sound that manifested the material world. Even the Christians have an I say that in the beginning was God, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. So even in there they say God's name and his name, God and his name are in one sense non-different, but at the same time different in the sense of worship. So it's only a difference in worship. And so Srila Prabhupada has established these Radha Krishna temples all over the world with other manifestations of the deities in the form of Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra, Sitaram, Lakshman, Hanuman, Sri Sri Gaurnitai, and of course, sometimes Lord Nrsingadev also. And all of that is to help us to worship the Supreme Lord in his different manifestations, which allows, especially for the neophyte, to focus their attention on the form of the Lord. But even great devotees who worship the deity manifest that deity worship as their Istadev. For the neophyte, it's a way to get connected with the process of worship and the form of the Lord. For the advanced devotee, it's his loving deity, and he worships. So although two people might be worshiping the deity, one is simply connecting themselves with the Lord in his form, in the form of worship, and the other one is seeing his lovable object in front of him and worshiping him in the mood of love or bhava, spontaneous attraction. So Srila Prabhupada has established, this is one of his major contributions to Krishna conscious worldwide. He's established so many temples throughout the world where one can practically be in any particular city and go to see the transcendental form of the Lord in one of the temples. And temples are also being continually built and opened by the devotees. And Prabhupada said, especially for the Indian population, they're very much attracted to the transcendental forms of the Lord. And Prabhupada said, therefore, we should do very gorgeous deity worship, and that will attract people from the Indian culture more so. And then we actually start to connect them, because they think, many people come from India, they think the teaching, the chanting is just for old people who can't do anything else. when you get old, then you sit down with some beads and you just pray. And they see that the deity in the temple is more important and more direct. But Srila Prabhupada has shown us that this gorgeous deity worship is necessary in order to attract in this class of people, and also others too, who are attracted to something beautiful. Of course, the Western mentality is not accustomed to deities, and therefore sometimes they think the deity is simply made out of stone or wood. But that is simply their poor fund of knowledge and their lack of transcendental vision. Or they think, well, maybe the deity is a representation of the Lord in the spiritual world, but that's also falls short of the actual understanding of the deity. The deity is non-different than the Lord. And many times we see throughout the history of Krishna worship that the deity has eaten, the deity has walked, the deity has talked, the deity has left the altar, went someplace and came back. Just like Bunky Bihari deity in Vrindavan. He used to, when they would put him to rest at night, they would close the doors, and then in the morning, when they would come early in the morning to wake him up, he wasn't there. And this was going on every night. He would come back later. And then the story is very beautiful. How after some time, they decided to make his Mangal Arti 10 o'clock in the morning, because he would be out all night, and then when he get back, he'd be tired. So that deity is still there. Banki Bihari is in Vrindavan. And then you have Shakshi Gopal in the area of Orissa, where he actually walked all the way from Vrindavan to bear witness for his devotee. And then there's many times, and Prabhupada says those who are actually qualified and spiritually advanced, they can talk to the deity and the deity will talk back to them. They can have a conversation with the deity. And there's many, many devotees who have had that experience of the deities giving them direct messages simply through words. I'll tell you a nice story. You'll find this story really quite amazing. There was one girl from Bosnia. Bosnia is part of the Balkan areas. You have Croatia, Slovenia, Serbia, Bosnia, Herzegovina, like that, Montenegro. These are all the states in the Balkan areas. And so this girl was from Bosnia. And she came to see Radha Shyam in the temple in Vrindavan, Shri Radha Shyam Sundar. Beautiful deities, installed by Srila Prabhupada. So she was taking darshan of the deity, and she noticed in the hand of Srimati Radharani, there was an apple. And she was looking, and she was thinking, boy, I'd like to get that apple, some special prasadam. Radharani's holding the apple. And then the darshan closed, and then, of course, she left. She came back the next day for the darshan. She told me this personally, just so you don't think I'm saying a hearsay. This is a direct, I heard this from the person involved. She's telling me this. She said, I went in front of the deity, and this time the darshan was open, but there was no apple in Radharani's hand. So I'm standing there, and then she said, after a few minutes, the pujari came out and he has an apple in his hand. And he comes over to her and he said, Radharani wants you to have this apple. But this apple is not for you. there's one girl in Croatia. She's 6 weeks pregnant, and she is undergoing difficulty in her pregnancy. So you should give this apple to her and tell her this is from Radharani, and she should eat the apple, and all her difficulties in pregnancy will go away. And then she will have a girl, and she should name that girl Radharani. So this is coming from the Pujari. So she's amazed. She takes the apple. She happens to know the girl, not closely, but she knows about them. She finds the girl. The girl is admitted, yes, I'm having difficulties with my pregnancy. She gave her the apple and told her what the Pujari had communicated by way of Radharani. She ate the apple, and then, of course, the pregnancy was smooth. And after, when the time was up, the girl was born, and she named it Radharani. Everything the Pujari said was exactly the way it happened. So when we see the deities, we should know that the deities is personally there. It's not, sometimes devotees walk past the deities or fail to offer respects to the deities or even do things that shouldn't be done in front of the deities because they think it's a deity. But that deity is, as it says in the scriptures, Arche Vishnu Siladi, Guru Shu Namati Vaishnave Jati Bhuti, that anyone who thinks that the deity is made of some material elements, and the verse goes on describing other categories of spiritual knowledge, and the verse ends with Naraki. Naraki means hell. And it ends by saying anyone who thinks that the deity is made out of stone, wood, or some, material metal, their consciousness is coming from hell. They have no spiritual understanding, no spiritual vision. So the deity is non-different. And even when you're sitting in your room and you have pictures of the Lord on the wall, you know those pictures are non-different than the Lord also. Of course, the potency that is manifested by the deity is more direct than through the picture. In other words, we can also worship the picture because the picture is non-different than the Lord also. You can do puja to the picture. You can offer, we do that. We offer bhoga to the deity in the form of picture, and we accept that as prasadam. So it's not some ritual or some magical idea. It's actually that the Lord is personally there wherever you see his transcendental form. It's non-different. And if you see things like that, if you see things that way, you're actually seeing through the eye of knowledge and not through some little ball, which we call eye, and seeing things according to our mental interpretations. So, yeah, and there are so many, I mean, not so many, there are unlimited different pastimes of the Lord interacting with his devotees in so many, what we say, amazing and direct ways. I remember in 1996, that was the centennial year of Prabhupada's appearance. During the Chaturmasya, during that year, there is 1 month where we fast from milk. And so the milk fast was on, but the deities were still getting milk. But during that time, there were many, many stories coming from all over the world that my deity is drinking the milk. I'm putting the milk there, I come back, the cup is empty. It was happening profusely around the world. And it even happened in our temple in Chicago. So I remember I was sitting in the temple area, and one gentleman came in and he was quite animated. He was very excited. And he was saying, "Oh, miracle, miracle. The Lord is drinking the milk. He's drinking the milk. He's drinking the milk." He was getting all, what we say, emotion about it. And we just told him he drinks every day, but this time he's not leaving you any. So he's not as merciful as he usually is. This time he's not giving you any of the prashadam. So, yeah, so anyone who sees the deity, other than being the absolute personality of Godhead, is not seeing properly. And therefore, they're missing out on getting purified. So therefore, those who do work with serving the Lord as a pujari, either in your homes or in the temples, you should be very, very conscious that this is the Supreme Lord. One cannot be inattentive, one cannot be whimsical, one cannot be careless. I remember one time, this was an unfortunate situation. We were dressing the deities, and one of my godbrothers was dressing Lord Balaram, and he had to carry him from one place to another. And he was in a hurry. And because he was in a hurry, Balaram fell out of his hand and hit the ground. It was a shock to all of us that day. And that devotee, of course, right after that, he had so much trouble. His Krishna consciousness was so difficult, I think. He committed a major offense by dropping the Supreme Personality of Godhead in this deity form. So we have to be very careful and conscious when we're offering food to the Lord, when we're offering water to the Lord, when we're offering worship to the Lord, and putting him to bed. There are many books on how all of this should be done according to the Pacharatric Vidi system of worship. This is called Narada Pancharatriki. Narada Muni has created a whole system of rules, regulations, and principles that govern worship of the deity in different forms, with mantras, with mudras, various times. Deity worship is quite intricate. And in the previous age, not in the Kali Yuga, but in the age of Dwapara Yuga, deity worship was the Yuga Dharma. In other words, one would become fully God conscious by perfecting deity worship. And as Srila Prabhupada said, the deity worship we do in this age is only 20% of what they did in previous ages. It was quite elaborate, with great amounts of wealth, costly jewelry, and beautiful garments, very fine foods, very elaborate forms of worship. So in previous ages, it was the Yuga Dharma, at least in Dwapara Yuga. Now Srila Prabhupada has connected deity worship with Bhagavad Vidi, which is hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord, and especially chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. He said, I've introduced deity worship into our society because devotees have to get purified. And by worshiping the deity, one starts to develop good qualities. One starts to elevate themselves to the mode of goodness. And therefore, then they can practice hearing and chanting in the proper mood, with the proper devotional emphasis. So deity worship has been given to us by Srila Prabhupada. He calls it two tracks on the transcendental plane, Pancharatriki Vidi, Bhagavat Vidi. Both of them are necessary in this age, especially for those who are just beginning their Krishna consciousness. Deity worship is recommended, not in the form of going onto the altar, but coming to the temple, taking darshan, and offering prayers to the deity. It says every time you go into the temple, you must bring a gift to the Lord. Could be a simple gift like a flower or a leaf, something. Said one should never go to the temple empty-handed. And when we come into the temple, in the entrance door, there's always a bell or some kind of instrument for making sound. If there's not, then one should knock on the door. One should not walk into the temple room just automatically. That is the Lord's personal room. And so there is an etiquette to approach the Lord in his temple. So all of this is nicely arranged so one develops devotion toward a deity and in the mood of awe and reverence like that. So one who practices deity worship can also chant the holy names of the Lord very nicely. Although chanting is not dependent on deity worship, it helps, it supports deity worship, especially for those who are neophyte and practically new in Krishna consciousness. Okay, we'll stop there.
Thank you, Maharaj. So dear devotees, we can open up for Q&A. You can raise your hands, or you can post your questions in the chat window where I can read it on your behalf if you're not able to do so. So we got a first question from Dheeraj Prabhu. Prabhu, please go ahead and ask your question. You are on mute, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. Maharaj, Omkar and Hare Krishna Mahamantra are the same?
Yeah, one is the personal manifestation, which is the one recommended by Lord Chaitanya, and the other one is the impersonal manifestation, but they're the same, non-different. Krishna says, Pranava Sabhavedeshu, Omkara, I am Omkara. He says that in the Bhagavad Gita.
So both the chantings have the same results?
No, because the Lord Chaitanya has given us the recommended process of chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. So we follow Mahajano Yena Katasa Panta. We have to follow in the footsteps of the great souls who have given us the process in an authorized way. Lord Chaitanya chanted Hare Krishna, and he's recommend all of those who follow the process of bhakti in this age chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. But Om, A means, A it signifies Krishna, U signifies Srimati Radharani, M indicates all living entities. But generally, those who practice various types of yoga, in order to control the mind and senses, they practice the chanting of Om. It's not the means for self-realization in this age. It is the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Although it's in one sense, it's non-different. Krishna says, Om, that's me.
Thank you so much, Gurudev.
Thank you. Nice to see you. You feeling better?
Yeah, I'm getting better in medication.
Good, good, good.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Gurudev.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. See you in Mayapur.
Yeah. Haribol.
Thank you, Prabhu. Dear devotees, just another request as well. If you can turn on your cameras to make the session more personal, that would be appreciated. Thank you. Sridevi Mataji, please go ahead.
Thank you, Dinanath. Dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Guru Maharaj, as you were speaking about understanding that the form of the Lord the deity form is the same as Krishna, and we should be worshipping with awe and reverence, and we should not be whimsical, we should be very careful. I was remembering that particular incident in Vrindavan where Sanatan Goswami was chastising a family because they were treating the deity like a family member. And the deity was being put to bed with the kids. He was, fed with the kids, and he was aghast. He said to this Mataji, "What are you doing? You're not taking bath. You're just, taking care of the deity like he's just one of your family members." So she got very frightened. And then she started doing everything, exactly as he said. And then the deity came to him in a dream saying, "You spoiled all my fun. I'm enjoying what the love and affection with which I'm being treated like that." So I'm not saying this is an excuse for us to do anything we like, but spontaneously, how we relate with the deity, is that something we should change and become formal?
I'm not sure the particular point of your question. You're saying that we should be less formal with the deity?
Yeah, in the sense that supposing we don't know properly how to do deity worship, like I do such a simple deity worship, I don't know any of the proper Pancharatriki Vidhi, I just know how to do the bhog offering, and I know I have to offer a fragrant flower with incense, and then I put them to sleep, but I don't know any mantras that go with it.
Well, home worship can be established according to what you can do nicely. But the basic principle is keep it clean and keep it on time. If you really, there's those who worship home and they also learn the mantras for waking up the deities, for putting the deities to sleep. And when they do the arti, they also chant the mula mantras of each deity. So it's how much you want to incorporate in your day-to-day worship. But incorporation means no decrease. So the Lord can take worship in a very simple way, or he can take it in a more elaborate way, depending on the worshiper. But in the temple, it's established at a certain standard. That's different.
I see. So we can learn proper home worship also and learn the mantras for the home worship program.
Yeah. It makes it more interesting and more devotional also. Otista Sri Guru Twaja Nidram Pripamaya. So that's how you wake up the spiritual master. You place on your right hand, you place your ring finger, the tip of your ring finger on the lotus feet of the spiritual master. You ring the bell with the other hand. You chant that mantra. When the mantra is done chanting, then you put the bell down and you clap 3 times. Yeah, I'm sure there's certain devotees there online today who do more elaborate deity worship. They can probably explain what they do also, if they want to.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Thank
We
you
have
very much for that.
we have Mahima there. She worships Radha and Krishna deities. And she has beautiful deities of Sri Radha Giridhari. And then there, so it's more elaborate. But which deities do you have?
I have God Nitai.
Gornitai can take very simple worship. Radha Krishna requires a little bit higher standing, even in home worship. But always keep it clean, always keep it on time. And don't do things in front of the deity that you wouldn't do normally in the temple either. We never get dressed in front of the deity. That's one thing you never do. Even getting dressed in front of a picture of the deity is discretion and proper etiquette and behavior.
Yes, Guru Maharaj, I don't eat also. I put the screen so that the deities are covered, and then only I honor prasadam. I do
Yeah.
that much.
Yeah, you have to give respect. The Lord is there.
Thank you so much for that information about Mahima. I'll definitely speak with her, Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much.
She has
Hare Krishna.
Krishna duties. She also has Gaurnitai and Radha Krishna. I think also Nrsingadev too. I'm not sure. Well, there you are. Tell us about something. So tell us about your deity worship a little bit.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. My respects to you and all devotees. Well, I know all that I learned from you actually, and some services that I did at the different temples. But there is we have like a standard procedure in all the temples with mantras that you mentioned, and but it's just a matter of how much we can do at a certain point, as you always emphasize that it's better to keep the certain standard and then see if we can continue to follow it and then slowly build up. But yeah, as you mentioned, we have all of them in Radha Krishna and Gornitai and Rishingadev and few Shalagram Shilas, so we have a certain morning puja.
Nice.
Yeah.
And when I come, they always look very happy. So that means they're getting good worship.
Yeah, I think they're satisfied when you come.
Because I bring Haridas Thakur, that's why.
Yes, Maharaj.
Nice to see you. I hope when you get time, give me a complete rundown of your experience in France.
Yeah, I would be happy to share. It
Yeah,
was really wonderful.
I'm eager because I was supposed to be there, and I feel like
Mhm.
at least experience it through your experience.
I would be happy to share.
Good.
Thank you. Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mataji. So dear devotees, any comments, questions, realization on this very interesting and important topic? Maharaj, I have a question. So when we enter the temple room, yes, we follow the rules and regulations about the etiquettes, but how should be our mood in approaching the deity? Should it be in the mode of Aishwarya? Or how does it?
Awe and reverence.
Okay.
You, well, I'll give you an example based on Prabhupada's statements. He says when you're standing there and the curtains are closed, and then the curtains open, you immediately fix your gaze on the lotus feet of the Lord. Bring your eyes slowly up the transcendental body of the Lord to his smiling face, down to the feet again, and then you pay your obeisances. You don't just jump down on the floor as soon as the curtain opens. Radharani and Krishna are there, and Radharani says, "Hey, they were here. Where'd they go? Oh, there they are, down there." So you greet the Lord when he appears, and that's how you greet him, through that method of darshan. And then while the darshan is going on, you do three things in your mind. You pray to the Lord and you glorify the Lord for his transcendental activities, his qualities, his beautiful appearance, something about the transcendental form of the Lord you glorify. And you also say, my dear Lord, I'm so fallen, so wretched. I have no devotion. Please give me your mercy. And then the last thing you do is say, how can I serve you? Now, these are the 3 points in darshan. First, you open yourself up, you empty yourself up from all the false ego. The second is you glorify the Lord, and the third is you ask for service. That's darshan. Not like you just stand there and you think, okay, what do we do next now? It's not like that. It's a relationship. You can make that relationship happen, you know.
Thank you, Maharaj. This has been very useful. Thank you. Sridevi Mataji, you have your hands raised. You want to ask a question? Yes, please go ahead then.
Thank you. Guru Maharaj, on this point of Omkar, we know that a lot of people in various yoga studios, they sit in the lotus position and they focus their minds. They have dhyana mudra, their hands are in dhyana mudra, and they're saying om, om, like this all the time, for sometimes many, many minutes at a stretch. Now, because the Omkar is non-different from Krishna, they surely must be getting some benefit. But will it awaken devotion and love like the Hare Krishna Mahamantra? Or they must come to the point of chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra for that to happen?
Again, Om is the impersonal manifestation of the Lord. It's usually chanted by yogis and tapasis, persons who are not engaged in devotional service, who perform various types of rituals, prayers, and meditations. It helps to focus the mind. And it's also, there is some purification of consciousness through the chanting of the Om. But we're personalists. We're not impersonalists. Therefore, we chant Hare Krishna. We worship the Lord in his personal form. If I meet you and I say, wow, you're a nice lady. But if I say, oh, Sri Devi, you're very nice. If I say your name, that's more personal than saying you're a nice lady. There's many ladies, but then there is Sri Devi. It's more personal. And so in our relationship with Krishna, we are person and Krishna is also person.
Okay. Thank
So,
you, Guru Maharaj.
the electrician may come to your house to do some work and he may be very polite to you and formal, respectful, but that's all. He's there to do electrical work. But if then someone is close to you comes, they want to be with you and have a relationship with you, that's different. So the impersonalists are more distant from the Lord.
Thank you. So, any other questions, comments, realizations?
We got
Silpesh Prabhu.
we got 28 people online. Come on, so no questions. Everybody's asleep, huh?
That's why we need all the cameras turned up. See everybody. Shilpesh Prabhu, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj, in the purport, it mentioned that these yogis would meditate on the forms of Vishnu, like the parts of Vishnu. I'm just curious what that really means, meditate on the form of the Lord.
Well, it says one should meditate on the different parts of the transcendental form without losing connection with the transcendental form of the Lord. So Dhruva Maharaj, when he was instructed by Narada Muni on how to meditate, that was his meditation. He was meditating on the different transcendental body parts of the Lord, which are all transcendental and all non-different than the Lord. So that's a form of meditation, more meditating on his feet, meditating on his chest, meditating on his beautiful face, meditating on his arms. All of these these are forms of meditation, but not distinct from the transcendental body of the Lord. That's what it says here. Don't lose that consciousness that all of this is connected to the transcendental form of the Lord. It's a form of meditation. Well, one cannot meditate simply on the whole form of the Lord. They can meditate on parts of it. So yogis do that also.
So would they be visualizing those parts, like picturing them in
Yeah.
their mind?
Yeah. That's what it means. They visualize. Yeah. It's not imaginary. Sometimes people do it in an imaginary way, but that's not real worship. Can't imagine the form of the Lord or any part of the Lord. It's not imagination. The Lord's forms are given to us by the acharyas through the scriptures.
So by picturing or visualizing the Lord, that's transcendental because the Lord's form is transcendental. So is that how the purification happens?
Wow. What do you think?
Yeah, because the Lord is above everything in this material world. And
Yeah, to think is the Lord's, because he has a body and it's similar to my body, that means we're both within the context of the material energy. But the Lord's form is non-different than him. We change these bodies, but he never changed his bodies. He comes in contact with the material energy, but he doesn't touch the material energy. He'll be in the material energy, just like I guess the example, one form of example, I'm just thinking about an example. So when you get an operation, the operation might be cutting your body, but because you're under an anesthesia, you don't feel any pain. So we might use that as an analogy when the Lord comes to the material energy. He doesn't connect anything with the material energy. He remains in his own transcendental, pure spiritual essence. Just like you can't mix water and oil together. You can try, but because of the substances are opposites, they'll naturally separate after some time. He doesn't touch the material energy. We don't touch the material energy either. We think that we are this body but the soul never touches the material body. It's in the material body, but it's not connected at all with the material body. So even you don't touch the material energy, but you think you do because we identify with this body as the self. And that consciousness is what is called illusion. That's why even if this whole body is smashed to bits, you're still there. Krishna makes that point. in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Not to be withered by the wind, not to be, Sri Devi, recite all of those. Not to withered of the wind, what else?
It cannot be cut by any weapon. It cannot be burnt by fire. It cannot be withered by the wind. It cannot be moistened with water.
Yeah, thank you. So these are the ones that Krishna mentions. Even the soul doesn't touch, but to speak of Krishna, who's the source of the material energy, he doesn't touch the material energy either.
Thank you, Maharaj. Very helpful.
Yeah, we have to accept the words of the Shastras. Otherwise, we use our empirical observation, we will see things in the wrong way. It's just like if you're intoxicated with some kind of substance, your visual ability is impaired, and you might see things that are not there, or you might see things that are there in a different way than they really are. I don't know if I should say this, but I just came across it today. There are people who come to this area of the world for vacation, and they want to swim, and they see the shore in front of them and the body of water in front of them also. But then they get intoxicated, and they think that the shore is much closer than it actually is. And so they dive in the water and they drown. Every year it happens. Because they're intoxicated, they see the shore line being much closer through their intoxicated, vision than it actually is. And then when they try to swim, they drown. Yeah, I was just told today, every year they report so many people. So we're intoxicated by material energy, and we see things differently than they actually are.
We're all drowning, Maharaj. We're all drowning.
Huh?
We're all drowning in this material energy.
Yeah. Maya labase kacho base. Drowning, sometimes surfacing, getting a breath of air, thinking, oh, it's so nice, and then back down again. When you get tired of drowning, then you start swimming towards the eternal lake that's in the spiritual world. So there's you don't drown, there you simply float on the water. Only when we get tired of this material energy, only then will we become serious about Krishna consciousness. As long as we keep putting our faith in this material energy, and then progress in devotional service is very, very slow, hardly moving. Sri Devi, you have another question?
Yes, Guru Maharaj, please, if I may. I would like to know where I can read up about proper deity worship. That's one. And secondly, offenses in performing deity worship that one must avoid. Home worship, I mean.
Well, there's books. I'll be right back.
Anand Sagar Jagannath Prabhu, I will ask your question after Sridevi Mataji's question. Thank you.
Sure, Prabhuji, thank you.
Okay, you still there?
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay, here's one book called Pancharatrik Pradipa, Daily Service. You can see this book. I'm sure you're familiar with it, right? Pancharatrik Pradipa, there's 2 volumes. There's the second volume. 1, 2. Pancharatrik Pradipa, this is authorized, compiled by the GBC Deity Worship Research Group, published by ISKCON GBC Press. Illuminations on Pancharatriki. These are all the mantras, all of the different ways of worship. And then you have Krishna Kshetra Maharaj, who's done one book called the Theology of Deity Worship in Chaitanya Vaishnavism. This book has won some awards. It's actually really nice. By Krishna Kshetra, called Krishna Seva. And then Maharaj has done a second book called Attending Krishna's Image, which is another book on deity worship. So that's Krishna Kshetra Maharaj. He's done 2 books on deity worship, which will really give you a deeper insight on the whole process of worshiping the deity. Okay, that's 4 books.
Wow, thank you so much, Guru Maharaj. That's comprehensive. Everything is there. Thank you.
Yeah.
There is,
If you
sorry.
go to the Vedas directly, you'll get lost. Better to take it from the devotees who research it and publish it in books.
I'm just seeing a message from Mahima, and she says, I will be happy to teach you about the mantras because she's been a pujari and she knows the mantras.
Good. Good association. Anything
Maharaj,
else?
there is one question from Anand Sagar Jagannath Prabhu. If you are okay, we can take it. It's in the chat window. He's asking, Maharaj, I have heard the deities of Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra can be installed without pran pratishtha. Is it okay to install them as such?
In your house, you mean?
Yes, Maharaj.
Well, you should, yeah. You don't have to do pran pratishtha, but you should welcome them and have a ceremony for welcoming the deities into the home. There's different ceremonies that devotees do. You invite guests over, you have kirtan, prashadam, and lecture, and you call it deity, welcoming the deity into the home. Yeah, that's good enough. You do that.
Okay, Maharaj. Thank you, Maharaj. I have one more follow-up question on that. How do we put them to rest, Maharaj? Jagannathji, Baldevji, Subhadraji.
Well, there's mantras for that. And this Pancha Pradipa, there is, let's see, where is it here? So mentioned here. The supplement, this is volume 1 and supplement to the volume 1. So, and there's one section that's called, where is it? These books are quite elaborate. Let me see. I know there's a section in this book for waking the deities and for putting in the rest. Let's see. Preparation for worship and waking the Lord. Putting the Lord to rest. Chapter 4 is there. So this book here, this is called Pancharatrik Pradeepa. This is authorized, the latest authorized book within. There was another book that was done earlier, but this one now has become the standard. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Maharaj.
You can order the book. Just go online and look for Pancharatra Pradipa.
Pradeepa.
And this volume 1, and then there is supplement to volume 1. So it's not volume 1 and 2. It's the other one's a supplement.
Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, we've got 2 raised hands, Maharaj. We'll be 20 minutes past 1, so just wanted to check with you, Maharaj.
You in a hurry to leave?
In 5 minutes, yes. But I think Srimati Mataji can host. She's also there, but I think we can be done with 2 questions.
We can take 2 questions in 5 minutes.
Thank you. No, Maharaj, sorry. I have to leave in 5 minutes, but I think Srimati Mataji can be the host, I guess.
Okay, Revati, give me your question.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to assembled devotees. Thank you for this very beautiful session on deity worship. I have a question, Guru Maharaj. You mentioned like one is connected to the form of the Lord and one is connected to the lovable form, lovable like object. So whenever I visit temple, I get attracted to the my immediate attention is like Lord's dressing and the beautiful eyes, and I just feel like just sit and watch the deities. So so what should be our mood? I mean, how can I like uh,
Well,
progress myself like
yeah, just that's an authorized form of worship. But then in your mood, you are also glorifying the Lord while you're sitting there. You're also thinking of his good qualities. You're also asking the Lord, how can I serve you? That's important.
Yes, good measure. Yeah, I wanted to share this. I got this book like from Mayapur during my visit. It's a small book, Deity Worship Manual. It was really helpful to me, just because for me it's a new bringing deities, but it has like nice all mantras for waking up. It really helped me to just kickstart my deity worship.
Good. Yeah. What's the cover? What's on the cover?
It's like it's a deity worship manual, Sri Krishna Balaram Mandir. Yeah, it's Bhakti Vedanta Swami Marg. Yeah.
Okay, it's put out by the devotees in Vrindavan.
Yeah, this has like, the mantras for waking up and also putting deities to rest. And I really like this, like it has like verses for requesting forgiveness for one's offenses. I always recite this because I feel like I'm not really qualified for the deity worship, but these offenses, the mantras, which yeah.
Read the book and learn more and more, and then apply it.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Okay,
Yeah.
Manisha.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj, thank you so much. Maharaj, I'm not able to do much services. So in the beginning, when I joined Krishna consciousness, I used to offer food in front of Srila Prabhupada and Bhagavad Gita with all the mantras and tulsi leaves. Is this correct, Maharaj?
Is that okay? You're asking me if that's okay?
Yeah.
Well, tulsi leaves are only for Lord Vishnu. And tulsi, you can't put tulsi leaves on Srila Prabhupada.
No. When I offer the food, I suppose I am offering food, then I will drop tulsi leaves and then offer.
I'm not sure what you're saying.
She says when she's offering the food, she places a tulsi leaf on each of the offerings and then offers it.
Yeah, that's proper. Yeah. That's only for Vishnu Tattva. Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra, you can do it for Sringadev, Radha Krishna. You can do it also for Gaur-Nitai because they are the supreme. You just can't offer tulsi leaves to Prabhupada, that's all. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much.
International staff.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you very much. We'll see you all. Well, I don't know. Is Srimati still online or on? Yes, she's there.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna. Please
Looks
accept my.
like I won't be able to make it tomorrow for class.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. And then the next few days after that, it's going to be, I have to see my schedule before I can say one way or the other.
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
But tomorrow for sure, I'm not able to make it.
Sure, Guru Maharaj. I'll inform Manasi Mataji.
Okay, thank you very much. Have a
Thank you
good
very
day.
much.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna. Thank you so much.
Blessings to you, Maharaj.
So much, Gurudev.
Excellent class.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
so
Maharaj.
much, Guru Maharaj.
Thank you so
Thank
much
you,
for
Maharaj.
your